Hey guys, it's me, Stephanie, just here to talk about this video clip that I'm watching. It's of a bunch of butts mostly, and a little bit of bikes and a little bit of tires.
Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube video here. So basically what this is a really fast group ride that's kind of a race simulation. We've been riding for about 10-12 miles now. Normalized power for this next 40 minutes is about 270, 260, 270. So basically what this is a race ride. And it's a lot of masters, P12, some guys from Cliff Bar show up, a guy from UCH, United Healthcare, showed up a couple times last summer. So I'm sucker punching this ride. It is right after New Year's. It's not the fastest guys that come to this group at all. And it is also right after New Year's, so no one's really in shape. This is the best chance I have at doing well at this ride. I'm a Cat 5 cyclist. Really been taking it serious for 2 years. We can talk about that a little later. But basically, I just want to break down this ride and see my mistakes, see what I've done well, see what I've done wrong. And this is about where it takes off. But I've just been sitting in the back so far. This guy right here pulls up, Matt. He's from the Matador team. They are the fastest guys out here most of the time. They are a P12 Masters team that specialize in time trialing, from what I understand. And so he's already breaking off the front here a little bit. He's just rolling off the front. A few people are following. I'm just setting in because there's a stoplight up here that should shut this all down. The First City team, they're kind of your average Joes in the ride. They're fast. They're very rarely are they the heavy hitters. And there's Lee Cyclery, which actually is no longer a team via this year. But they have some really heavy hitters as well. If anyone's going to match the Matador team, it's usually the Lee Cyclery team. So this light's green, which means we're not stopping, which means here comes kind of a flurry right here. And so you have to make sure you stay on. I don't know why. If this light's green, everyone hammers right here. The guy, Matador team, probably already has a little bit of a gap right here. So I'm just trying to set in. The wind is ahead. No, it's a tailwind right now. And so basically, really not getting the best out of the draft as you can. On the way back, you'll see there's a really big advantage with the tailwind there. This is kind of a long video, and it's a lot to talk through. And some of it really is just simple bike riding. I make a lot of mistakes. And it's easy to watch these videos and see what you did right and wrong. In the moment when you don't know your fitness versus everyone else, that's the other thing with this ride is it's really a crapshoot a lot of times of where you're at in capabilities. There are some people that I see and I go, oh crap, they're here. Like, I'm not going to last. I'm going to get dropped. The first time I did this ride, I got dropped in 5 minutes. This was 2 years ago. But it basically started my search for becoming a faster cyclist. And so, but yeah, I literally came off the back in 5 minutes, drove 45 minutes to this ride to ride for 5 minutes and got dropped. And each week just got a little further, a little further. I'm talking 7 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, 11 minutes. John that just went by there, well, this is Ben right here. He is the best wheel to follow because he comes to work out. He doesn't come to win. And so he takes all his pulls. He rides really smooth. And so he's just a really good, he's that orange bike. He's also kind of a good friend of mine via this group. And so it's not, like, we're not personal good friends, but he's really nice. And so, and this is Scotty right here in the flappy jacket. He's usually not a good draft to follow, but with that jacket, he probably is today. And so, yeah, it's cold. I think it's 38 degrees-ish. So it's a pretty chilly day. And that's Matt right there on Lee Cyclery. So I'm staying up front because I feel like I've worked out a little bit over the holidays. And I feel like I can maybe do something today for the first or second time ever on this ride. And so we are coming up to a stop right there. And yep, just come to a stop. This is one of the few stops that we have from here. I think this is the last stop actually,
Yeah,
and we just have to stop to make sure we don't get smacked. John is up front. He's on the BMC time machine there. He is really. I'm learning that he is the bridge the gap guy. And so what I do a lot is I see someone go off the front, and I really try to get a group to work together to pull them back. Doesn't always work. I don't know why. It just this ride's pretty cheeky for a group ride. It really is. But I mean, it simulates a race, and that's for me. It does, anyways. So I'm up front here, probably a little closer than I should be, because if I have to go up to the front, I'm going to be in trouble here. And so I come out to the side here. I'm like, nope, yeah, I realize that's too close. I have to make someone fill in this gap here, which is kind of bad riding. This guy right here was on the Rio team. He took like 14th in nationals. So, you know, he's fast. And this is Ben here. Like I said, always a safe wheel to be behind. So, yeah, like I said, this was a really fast group ride that I've been working at for a long time. And when the heavy hitters are out, you just stay in the back. You don't pull. You don't do anything. You just see, for me anyways, you see how long you can hang on. But it looks like Matt is scooting up just a little bit here. And now you see his gap. They're the time trial specialist. He literally takes off the front. I don't know why, but it makes me nervous. I have a really hard time just sitting in and watching. So I follow Ben up to the front. And then I get this guilt and remorse for doing that. But then I also feel bad for making Ben pull the whole thing. So I come around front here, just here in a second. And I'm watching this gap grow. And now it's big. And now we kind of have a problem here. So I feel obligated. I feel like the team would work together. The group ride would work together to help pull him back. Because you can see he's disappearing. And this is, like I said, they're just a P12 Masters time trial specialist team. And if that's wrong, then somebody can tell me later. But so we're coming up here. I'm still pulling. I feel pretty good right now, but it's only a few miles in. I always overcook it pretty early here. So he's clear, and that's a bummer because that's where we could have maybe grabbed him again, but now we have a lot of work to do. Now we have a wind coming from the left to right, so you'll keep that in mind as we go over this overpass in this section. This section's always really, really fast. It has this uphill for the overpass, and then it's kind of low rollers with always a pretty strong crosswind in it. So this is where the ride really takes off most of the time. But I realize no one's coming around. I look back, I've kind of gapped the group a little bit to close, so I slow down a lot and I let everyone come through because I want to work together. And as you can see, speeds are pretty high here. There goes Scott to close. And then the riders just start filling in, which is what I want here. But I don't feel like the pace is high enough to bring Matt back. And so I'm just kind of waiting to see. And this is really where the ride starts for me. And so I'm not putting out a lot of watts, but I'm coming through due to the crosswind. And so they're blocking for me. I say, hey, let me through here. I'll help pull again. And then I kind of put in a decent pace here. But I kind of realize I'm out by myself longer than I want to be. And so I'm going to back off here just a little bit. Because I figured we'd just be pace lining here to bring him back. So I pull off to the side, drop my watts, and just say anyone else is more than welcome to come through. Nobody comes. So I drop off a little bit more. There's Scott. I like Scott a lot. He's a really hard worker. Out on this group ride. That guy, I don't know his name, but we get along. He's always really friendly. And then you got Ben again. And then this is Joel. Joel is really, really strong and really, really crafty. And so he is a really fun wheel to follow. So now I'm trying to set a tempo here, saying this is how long we can pull, we can come through, we can bring him back. Now clearly everyone else is thinking something else. So I'm probably in the wrong here. And no one really comes through, so I have to back it off again. Because I can't pull this back by myself. And my max heart rate's about 178. So I'm not in trouble here, but I'm getting close. And so everyone's working here pretty good. And I don't know how tired they are, and everyone is off a break, so no one has any VO2 besides me a little bit for where I'm at. But I really want to bring this back. And so Scott comes through here. Again, I want to do the same thing, and maybe I'm coming through too strong. I don't know. I really try to be gentle, but it's really hard when you're at the upper echelon of your watts to kind of be smooth and consistent. And so I'm pulling here, and then you can see we're actually bringing him in, though, a little bit. He's getting closer. And so I pull all the way out to the side here so someone comes through. Because, again, I'm at the front too long. He comes through, which I know is out of order a little bit. So I close. I see the gap, and I close because I want to keep working at this. And you can see we're doing it. I'm letting him lead a little bit. I know I'm running out of juice here, just a little bit. And then, yep. Okay, so right here, I probably do. But so you can see the gap here. I just said I'm not going to do this by myself. So I fall all the way back. But this is kind of a problem here. You see my watts really aren't dropping, even though I'm dropping back. And that's because of the crosswind. So now I have to find a place in the group to hide on the other side. I'm trying to figure out how to get on the other side here. And so now that I've dropped to the back, you think, okay, great, I'm safe. But because of the crosswind, I'm working just as hard. So I'm not really getting the recovery I was hoping and praying for here. So I'm just trying to slot in kind of here. I don't want to drop too much further back than this. But there's still a couple guys behind us. And there I finally slot in just a little bit. And you can see the watts drop down. And so, yeah, I'm just sitting and relaxing. And then finally, John, I think is his name, comes through. And then Byron comes through, which he is insanely fast. Really big gears. I mean, you can see he's a beast. But I'm finally getting the draft that I was hoping for to recover here. So we're going to take a corner here that puts us into a tailwind. Someone yells car up here. And maybe I'm predicting. This was shot a couple of weeks ago, so I'm not exactly. I don't remember everything perfectly. But I see this happening here. Byron pushes up Matt there. And here's the corner. And someone yells car up real early, so I'm on the outside, so I kind of let everyone come through. And now I'm close to the back of this thing, and I don't like where I'm at because I'm in a tailwind, and this part, for whatever reason, always gets hammered really, really hard. And I'm feeling okay here, but I just know I have to move up. I don't like being on off the back here because moves happen, and then it gaps and gaps and gaps, and then you're off the ride pretty much. So I'm hammering. This is a little bit of an uphill here. I'm hitting this about as hard as I can. And then about the top of this, right now I'm really starting to feel like I might be in trouble. I'm starting to feel like I'm going to get dropped because I'm at the very max of my heart rate here. And so I just know I need to calm down and set in. But the second I kind of start to feel scared, everyone sets up a little bit. So I think everyone was feeling it there a little bit. Still pretty hard. Still probably in trouble here a little bit. And they're pedaling away. There, right there in mushrooms. And now I know I'm okay. I know I'm not going to come off the back. But I've been dropped there quite a few times, actually. Because there's always a crosswind there. If you don't have a good position, you're working so hard, no matter where you're at in the group. And supposedly somehow they brought Matt back. There's someone off the front there a little bit. And now I'm feeling a lot better, honestly. I've just brought my heartbeat down just a little bit, just enough to survive. Excuse me. And so now I'm trying to bring myself up to the front again, just a little bit. And you see moves going off the front here. I would say the difference with this ride a little bit is it isn't as counter attack-ish as like a real race. People go off the front and people show you their moves. Here's Matt. That's the guy that was time trialing by himself. So I'm thinking now maybe I can get in the break if I stay on this wheel right here. So I'm going with this, which I looked back just for a sec and everyone came with me. So that was a big up right there. And no one let this group get away. There's Ben right here. I say, I can't come through.
I can't, Ben.
And he tries. He says, I can't. And I say, okay, fine. I guess I will. But I didn't want to. And I usually rely on him for these bridges. And then there goes Joel and everyone else. And so it was a whole kind of conversation for nothing that I had with Ben there. Because people were coming up anyways. And so everyone kind of catches their breath here. Matt was pulling off the front all by himself. He's on that new Venge with like deep wheels. It's just dangerous power on a dangerous bike. And so I'm watching this, and I don't know why I'm up front here, really. I just don't trust these moves. And I'm not working that hard to stay here. So, yeah, it kind of chills out here. And so now I know we're going to turn into a crosswind again. I'm not getting caught in the same position that I was last time trying to pull back a break. And so there goes Byron. This is kind of a counterattack. And he has the gears to get away here. And so Matt chases. The other Matt chases. And this guy in the blue is really, really fast as well. And so I know if he's not worried, I'm not worried. And then there's Scotty. Scotty's suffering here. And now I don't like this. And so I really set a gear that I can just kind of handle to bring this in. Bring it in. The whole group's behind me. I don't know where they're at or how hard it is or if they're just relaxing or what. But this isn't too hard for me right now. It's not easy street, but I'm not in trouble. But you could probably get me in trouble pretty quick at this point. And so I am going to voice over this whole ride and probably just edit later. So this first version here is going to be the entire ride. Basically what my plan is to create a YouTube channel in spring that's valid. And I'll edit these videos. Right now I'm just learning how to do this. I'm going to make a bunch of videos until spring and learn what works for me, what doesn't. And so you can see the corner here. We take it really wide. And there's a break that Byron made up there. I'm not chasing it. I don't want nothing to do with it. So I hammer the corner here just because that's what you do on bike rides, I guess, is hammer out of the corners. It's what I've learned over time. But now I'm dropping back. But we have a crosswind again here. And I am on the wrong side of it. But I'm doing that to let people come through. But this is John. He tries to bridge. So that's a good will to just watch because he'll bridge. And if you can just follow him, you can make a break with his. Because he bridges a lot like that with those big, hefty efforts here. So I am following all the way back. And I've noticed we've lost probably 5 or 6 riders at this point. It's a lot smaller than it was when it started. And so I am just trying to get on the other side there. Like I said, you can see the watts still aren't that low. And so now I'm in easy street. Now it's like try not to bring yourself up to the front. Because the crosswind really makes this doable. And it's not the worst crosswind because if it was, people would be lined out and you'd be gutted if you weren't 3rd or 4th wheel. But it's really enough for me to make a difference. And so for a while now, the video gets pretty boring. And I'll probably edit most of this out here. But there's a breakaway up there. I have to recover. I've had my heart rate up into the top 5-10% of it for the whole ride, really. And so now I'm just trying to set in and relax. And that's what I do here. I know that we're about to turn back up around, and that's into a headwind. There's a breakaway up there. And I know I just don't have anything to offer, and I don't want to get dropped, which happens to me a lot on this ride. Fortunately, today, like I said, I'm doing pretty good and looking pretty strong, but this group is really whittled down. I mean, cycling's all about the sucker punch, right? You kick people while they're down. After they attack, they call it countering, I call it sucker punching, but that's really what most cycling strategy is. And so I kind of sucker punched or counterattacked this group ride. I picked the day where I knew it was probably going to be the slowest of the whole entire year. And so this section here is the headwind. And if you notice, it still takes a while for people to kind of settle in and find a rhythm. And so just because you went into the headwind, you're still going to work a little bit, from my experience, to kind of find a place to settle in. And then you'll see the watts really drop down here. I think my average watts through this section were like 160. I mean, it's really low. It's low endurance because, but you see the speed is still up. People up front are like holding 30 miles an hour trying to get that brake back. I'm just sitting right behind the echelon or the pace line essentially and letting them work. And I know the guy I'm behind, I know he won't go up and work because I know he just doesn't. So I know that he'll make all the cheeky moves for me and set back and not come through and do all that. So I feel like this is a really safe place because I know I'm never going to be called to the front. This car right here was trying to pass, and then I saw an oncoming car and about killed us all. Good stuff, right? And so, yeah, this is basically what I try to do here is get just behind the pace line. As I say that, he comes through. And so, but just a little bit. He's not working that hard. There's still a pretty decent sized group up there. But I don't want to come through at all. So I'm just trying to stay behind the work. And if you can be the second person doing that, it's even better because you don't look like the jerk who won't come through. There is some etiquette on this ride, a little bit. If you start playing really hard, it looks like Byron got brought back there. He fell off that front group. So the front group, I think, is just Matt again, that time trial guy. Yep, he's up there by himself. I'm fourth wheel, probably closer than I want to be. But the goal here is to recover. Because I do want to make a shot for the end here. I don't always have this opportunity on this ride. And as far as fitness, I've been doing a lot of low cadence drills. Those seem to be really helpful for me to build strength and muscle endurance on this stuff. 4 minutes on, 4 minutes off, really low cadence. I'm talking 40, 50, 60. If your knees can handle it, they've been really doing a lot for me. Just to be, I don't know, it raises the water tide on my whole entire ride. You know, VO2 intervals really only help you kind of when you kick into the VO2. It might help you 10% on the rest of your ride, but that's really where they show up. Sweet spot's really sweet spot. It kind of fades into endurance. But once you're doing sweet spot work, but you do kick up into VO2, it doesn't really help. But for whatever, these slow cadence drills have really brought my water level up. And so they've seemed to really been helping. And the day before this, I do, that's a guy, he's from Italy, and he's usually pretty quick, but it looks like he fell off there. And so, yeah, they've really been helping me a lot with those. Lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, and the day before this, I did like a really hard 12-minute interval. Those seem to open up my legs. I went from like 320 to 220, 320 to 220. Really kind of emulated this ride for 12 minutes. And I know that, I mean, that's pretty high TSS, but it seems, that's your training stress score. But they seem to really help me to have really, really hard openers. Seem to really help me the next day. Like really hard openers, like 12, 15-minute long, really hard efforts. Seem to really help me for the next day on these. Now by the third day, I really start to come apart. So we did get caught at a stop sign here. Matt had a pretty big lead. This is the difference between a group ride and a race, is he got brought back, and only because of this. And he kind of makes the comment saying, "You guys are probably at talking pace." Well, if we weren't on the front, we really were at talking pace. You saw how high the speed was and how low the watts were. And headwind really makes a difference there. So up here again, I'm pretty much totally recovered at this point, but I'm just nervous about this bike ride. And so I see this and I don't really know how to set back. And what I do a bad job of is seeing who the hitters are. None of them are up there. But I don't like it. And so I don't like the gap. And so I really make sure that I'm kind of up front here. And there's a big pile of glass up here. Now Byron's going to do a pro move here. that it took me a while watching this video to figure out what he was doing. So he screamed glass right there. And then he pulls out a water bottle and rubs it on his tires. I didn't know what he was doing until I watched the video a few times. And I realized he's trying to clean the glass off in case he got any. Wicked smart, Byron. So here we are. Everyone's kind of dropping off and relaxing. I am coming through thinking that we're all besties and that we're going to work together really hard to bring back this group. Again, you're going to see what happens. Nothing. So now I'm up front and I come over to the side and I just expect someone to come through. Doesn't happen. Now I don't know if some of this is because I'm not on a team, one of the teams. I felt that way before in the summer where I really get left out to dangle, but they work really well with each other. I'm kind of new to this ride. I mean, I've been coming for a year, but some of these guys have been riding together for years and years and racing and all that. So to the Northern Colorado scene, I am kind of new. Ben comes through here just to help a little bit, but I look and no one else is even close. So I thought maybe me and Ben will just work together. And so, yep, come through. And then I'm feeling probably too good. Like if I was smart, you saw how many people are in this ride. I could just fall back and be just fine. Probably hear my kid crying in the background. But now it's just me pulling back this group, and here comes the overpass. So not only have I been pulling a little bit, but now I have to work up this hill because I don't have any help. And then I thought maybe I can just hurt some people here. And I don't. There's a crosswind again coming from right to left now. So if you're in that draft, you're probably not even feeling this. And I know my watts aren't crazy, but I'm trying to hurt them a little bit. And then I'm just over it. So I back off, and I want to work my way back around. And now they're all coming around me. And, yep. And there's a big U-turn up here. So I'm basically just trying to get over. And there's Matt kind of waiting. Again, if he's in, it's kind of scary. So here's the big churn. I take it poorly and kind of fall off. So I have to sprint here a little bit. But I don't mind because then everyone else has to behind me as well. And so we're about to head into a headwind again. So I'm really not worried about much. But I am pretty far back at this point, and I don't love it. So again, just hanging out. But I'm pretty fresh at this point, and I want to do something. And so there's one more stoplight up here. If you hit it clean, it's a dead sprint through it, and everyone opens it up and starts to like open up a real race like. And so I need to be up front for the stoplight. But yeah, there's really not a lot to talk about here. I'm just hanging out and feeling pretty good at this point, hoping, trying to figure out. And I really have a hard time in these rides if I'm feeling good to still do nothing, which I think is just immaturity as far as cycling. And since I'm feeling good, I just kind of coast up to the front here a little bit, one little chunk at a time. But yeah, it's kind of a misnomer I have that if you're feeling good, you better do something. And you want the workout, you want all that. And here's, yeah, that's Will. He's an older guy, but he's pretty quick as well. And I want to do this ride sometimes and get as low watts as possible, and really just have that be my goal, is to get the smallest amount of watts and just ride as smart as possible. Because honestly, if you want to win a race, that's where it happens. Is when you save as much as possible here. So you can see the headwind here, and like we're going up a off ramp here, and I'm like barely working because of the draft and the fact that the speed is slowing down up front, because there is a little stop sign here that we have to stop at. This isn't the stop light. And yep, we take a stop. Now, I've already thought of this. Matt hasn't done anything for a minute, and he's up front to the right there. Nope, those wheels aren't deep enough. Where is he? Oh. Yep, there he goes. I believe that's him. Yeah. And so here comes a break again, right after the light, or the stop sign. But I'm letting these guys. I see Scotty try to hop on it there and get on it, so it picks it up a little bit. Now there's a lot of stronger people behind me, but I don't like. Well, I like Scott a lot, and I don't like seeing him sit out there suffering. He looks back. I say, "Get out of the wind, man." But so I make it my job to bring this back. Scott and Ben, whenever they're up front, I feel kind of obligated to help them work, just because they always do their turn, they always work. And so I'm pedaling, but I'm bringing back the whole pack, which is, I guess, kind of the problem, is I'm slowly bringing back everyone. So now everyone is back on, all 20 some odd riders. Railroad tracks up here. And so now I'm just sitting and watching. Again, not trying to get out front, really, because I don't actually belong this far forward. And you can see the game start. One person drops off. Will, I believe is his name, dropped off right with him. And so one person went from third to first right there. And it's starting to break a little bit. Byron makes a move. Now you got two really fast guys. So now I'm a little worried about this right here. And then there's the big equipment rental store right there. You can see the sky lifts in the air. So that means we're really close to that stoplight that's coming up. And now I start thinking there's a little bit of a break up there. If I don't make that break and that light's green, that group's gotten away. And so I'm waiting. I'm hoping they're thinking the same things I am. And then I believe I can see the light about right here, and it's green. And sure enough, there goes Matt. I think that's John in front, and I have to try to cover this, but then light turns yellow. So everyone stops here and kind of BS's a little bit and talks about how fat and full they are and how slow they are. Well, I'm loving it because it's finally a group ride I can do. And so this light here. So this is a little stretch that goes east, which is a right to left crosswind. We're not worried about that. And then this scene finishes in about a 4-mile headwind. And so I'm going to take you through that and kind of explain what my thinking is there. I feel like I did this really smart and then really dumb. And so maybe you can help me figure out how to do this a little better here. Like I said, I have a hard time. Like, I just want to go kill myself and be crazy. But being a tactful rider really isn't my strength. I don't have a strength yet because I'm new at this. And so everything basically is a weakness right now. But I am trying to think, how do I play this headwind up here? And so this light takes forever. Yeah, and then basically the whole conversation, everyone is like how fat and how tired they are. And I'm going to make some more other videos about this ride, and you're going to see me get shredded a lot worse than this. Like I said, the heavy hitters aren't here. The heavy hitters aren't here, and the kind of heavy hitters, a few are there. But this is pretty much just cannon fodder. Usually what is most of your normal guys is what's kind of ending up at the front here. So there's the old golden arches. And I am trying to figure out, now this is the same thing. I want to be as close to the front as I can without being part of the rotation here. And so I'm kind of thinking, where do I need to be? Because I do want to be able to make a move eventually. He's asking me about my GoPro, if it's on. I say, I don't know, it's my first time using it. I don't know if it's even working. And so I'm already seeing I don't really like where I'm at. A little closer than I want to be. It's a beautiful day. It's cold, but it's such a nice day. We had like Arctic temperatures come through, so it was like 8 degrees a couple days prior. But really, Colorado weather, it can be 15 one day and 50 the next. And so, yep, I am just trying to figure out this spot. My goal is to win one of these at some point, and here I am dropping off because I don't like how close I am. And I like the guys that are coming through. It's the guys who work hard and are fast. So I want to be just behind that. Anyone who's a wheel sucker that doesn't really pull, that's who I want to be in front of. Because I don't want to be caught. And you know who those people are. Sometimes the wheel sucker's me because I don't have it. I don't think it's for lack of effort. I think it's for lack of ability that you end up being one in this ride. But yep, there goes Byron. Joel's in front of me. So I really like everything that's happening here. And now I'm just trying to stay sheltered because we do have a little bit right to left wind. And our turn is right up here. But everyone that I want in front of me, except for maybe Matt, is back there. But either way, I like the numbers game that I have right here. And so here comes our last churn. And there is one little stop sign through this 4-mile stretch. But people really try to gas it through here. But there's a headwind, so if you're just back a little bit, it's not going to be hard. And I'm really watching here to see who's pulling. Because if I do want to make a move, I want to make sure it's after one of the strongest guys pull. And so, because if you are up front right now, you really are working pretty hard. So, yep, I love where I'm at right now. I'm just setting in. There's a pretty big group in front of me. Headwind makes it pretty hard to attack. And I won't have to pull because, like I said, I'm just behind the guys who do damage. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good at this point. So yeah, and if you guys have any questions or comments, I know there's a lot of things I could definitely do better. This is a really rough draft of this. This isn't even a real YouTube channel at this point. Maybe this spring it will be, and these videos will be shorter and edited, and probably this ride or these rides will be broken into 2 or 3 videos and talk about tactics and stuff like that. I heard people are pretty good at trolling you on YouTube if you have a channel, so look forward to that a little bit. Here I am still setting back. You can see the rotation happening. The big green up there with the white shoes is Byron. Now I'm thinking at this point, maybe make a move after one of his pulls. Because I think that could be a legitimate move for the front. But we do have the one stop sign up here. I'm watching who's pulling, who just got finished. And I would say the headwind's probably 8 miles an hour, 9 miles an hour. It's not crazy. It's just enough to make a difference on cycling. It's so funny. And then here's the last stop sign. So we did get to roll through it. And now we have about 1.5 miles or 2, I think, to the finish here. And so now I'm really starting to get antsy and really starting to think, this guy can put in the blue Trek, the baby blue Trek Madone. I've seen him put monster pulls in. So I don't know really why he's dropping back. And I don't know. Maybe he had a mechanical there. I don't know. And you don't know where anyone's fitness is January 3rd either. This is a lot different than June, July, August, you know. And you'll see as we make more of these videos, I'll be in a lot more trouble than this on this ride. And so right now I can see Byron pulling up on the front. And that means something to me. We're getting decently close to the finish. I could definitely wait a lot longer because there is a lot more further to go. But I am just watching here and seeing when would be a good time. So, and my strat here is to go long. I don't know why that's my strat, because I know I can't out sprint Matt. And this guy coming up on the BMC right here, I know he's got a really good sprint too. And so my ideal is to go perfectly long. But people are moving up here. And then Ben drops back. He's really super strong. But he looked a little tired today. Byron's dropping off, which means he just pulled. Which means he's out of position to really counter me. And so now I'm getting really, really itchy. And I am moving up a little bit. This guy right here, I don't know his name. He doesn't do a lot of work. He's, yeah, he just kind of hangs in. He's probably closer to my ability, honestly. And so now I really like who's up front, and I make my move here. John's up front, which means he just put a pretty big pull in. He's one of the sprinters. So here's my move. And I feel like I get a pretty decent gap here. I put my head down. I don't have a ton of power left. I know, and I actually had more in the tank here. I really did. I really, really did. I was just so scared of burning myself out because I'm not quite sure how far. Like, I don't know exactly. And so I make a pretty big mistake here. I just went a little early. But it got hard because I was moving up in that group. And I didn't know kind of where to put myself. And I felt like I was being forced out to the front. And so I just decided to put in a really big dig here and see what I can do. I looked back a few times. I actually have a really decent gap. And so I am just working as hard as I can here. But the lights do start to go out. You can see the power starting to drop here. And I didn't make the attack blistering enough. But no one followed either way. Mainly, I don't feel like they could really, except for some of the big guys in back. One person hit me up on Strava and said he really tried to close it right away and couldn't get back on and fell back into the group. But he probably helped pull people up too, making that little effort here. And so, as you can see, I still have a ways to go here. And so I definitely shot this really long. And there goes one guy. That's who I was hoping. He was on the front when I took off. I was hoping that'd be too much. And I'm not really trying. I maybe should have tried here. And then Mac comes by like I'm standing still to chase him down. And then here comes the group. And you can see they're spread out. So I did something. Because they're not echelonning in. You know, they're not pace lining in. And so you can see the gap they have. That's the next gap. So I definitely tore this group up, which is a good feeling. But I am having everyone ride by me as well. And I think the finish is more up here. I don't really know what they call the finish. But everyone's backed off now. So maybe it's that street back there. Maybe I was a lot closer than I think. But yeah, that's basically the ride there. We kind of bring it in. We all say good job, everyone. Really fun ride. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you stuck with it the whole time. And maybe we can pull something from this. So thanks for the watch. Thanks, guys.
I went a little early. Yeah. That's fine.